So imagine you're walking home from class and someone pulls up next to you and asks if you like a ride home. You remember your mom saying, don't talk to strangers, don't get in the car with strangers, but it's cold outside, it's late, and storm clouds are rolling in, it's going to rain. So you get home safely, everything's fine, but let's say a few weeks later, you're watching the news at home, and you see that the person you got a ride from actually turns out to be a serial killer. This happened to Rhonda Stapley in 1974. She was walking home from class, and she actually had gotten a ride home from Ted Bundy. He had offered her a ride, and he was taking her home, but since he had to run an errand, and he ended up taking her to like his alleyway or whatever, and was trying to strangle her. She got out, she's alive, but she almost got killed. So I've always been interested in psychology and the psychology of serial killers, so that's why I decided to do the subject, and I did some additional research. And according to former Chief FBI's Elite Serial Crime Unit, John Douglas, there are 25 to 50 serial killers in the U.S. at any given moment. So today I'm going to tell you about some of the early warning signs of a serial killer. The ones I'm going to talk about today are extremely antisocial behavior, torturing small animals, and poor family life. So let's start with antisocial behavior. So antisocial behavior is not a definitive sign of a serial killer, of course, but what you have to watch for is children who start off being really social and then they regress to being extremely antisocial. And according to crimemuseum.org, Ed Geins, he lived with his really religious mother, and she would punish him if he tried to make friends. And when she died, he would murder women and dig up their graves and collect body parts of women that looked like his mom, and he would try to make a woman suit. He was the inspiration for Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs, if anybody's seen that. And another early warning sign is torturing small animals. Torturing small animals is the strongest early warning sign. It's the most likely one that a lot of serial killers have done as a child. And children that kill small animals without remorse are more likely to be sociopaths because they like the power of control. They like having the power to control something that's smaller than them. So according to psychologytoday.com, while less than 5% of U.S. children are estimated to have intentionally hurt an animal, for children at mental health clinics, animal cruelty ranges from 10 to 25% of them. And according to Murderpedia.org, Jeffrey Dahmer liked to pick up small animals and skin them. And he was said to have an animal cemetery, and he was said to have, he had a puppy, and he killed it and put his head on a stake. So yeah. And the last warning sign is poor family life. Many serial killers come from families with criminal, psychiatric, or alcoholic histories. The serial killers often have a bad relationship with a family member, and that family member often becomes their first victim. So according to AAETS.org, Eric Hickey, who was a criminologist, did a study of 62 male serial killers, and he found that 48% had been rejected by an important person in their life. And this happens to a lot of people, but with serial killers it happens to be a turning point. Like, this is what sets them off, basically. Jeffrey Dahmer, for example, he felt rejected by his parents. He started out being a really happy kid, but then they moved around a lot. They had another child, so he was the only child and he got another one, so he wasn't happy about that. And then his parents divorced later on, so he felt really rejected by them, stuff like that. And then according to thefamouspeople.com, John Wayne Gacy, he was a serial killer who liked to dress up as a clown and rape and murder little boys. He had an abusive alcoholic father, and because of that, he became a serial killer, basically. Probably not because of that, but that was part of it. And his dad was so abusive to him that he would sometimes beat him till he was unconscious. So, in conclusion, although none of these signs are definitive, these are some of the early warning signs of some of the notorious serial killers that we know of today, like Jeffrey Dahmer and stuff like that. So they could have extremely antisocial behavior like Ed Geins did. They could torture small animals like Jeffrey Dahmer, or they could have poor family life like John Wayne Gacy and a lot of other serial killers. So, before you catch a ride from that guy, before you babysit that kid, remember this speech and see if you see any signs of a blossoming serial killer.